Target has launch.
Alright, I'm going to try my hardest to listen and commentate, talk with y'all about the latest podcast with Todd and Julie Chrisley. This was a couple of hours ago. What is it? Wednesday evening. The gift of prayer, glorifying God, and the strength that comes from.
Good morning, everyone. It's Todd.
And Julie.
With Chrisley Confessions. How are you this morning?
I'm hanging in there. How about you?
I'm doing as good as you are, babe. And you and I personally know how that is.
Yes.
First I want to start the podcast by saying that, we try to address as much as we can each week that we're allowed to address. And I want you all to know that the messages that we are receiving, the mail that we're receiving, the gifts that people are leaving in our doors, the flower arrangements, all of this stuff is just overwhelming and very much appreciated. We don't want you sending us flowers. We don't want you wasting your money on things like that. And, the gifts and things like that, really the thing that we don't need anything. So really the best gift that you can give us is prayer.
Amen.
And
yes. As said on my video earlier, y'all, please, if you believe in it, if you do it, just say a prayer for this family, whether or not, if you like them, whether or not you think that they're guilty or not. I hope and pray that they're not. I didn't think they were. But either way, I'm still praying for them because they need it. They deserve it for sure. And that's really sweet. And it's true. It's very nice to have letters and words of encouragement and flowers and, meals, and that is really nice to have. But the most important, the most powerful and strongest thing anyone could do for anybody is to pray for them. It's just prayer warriors for real.
We were in the midst of a counseling session 2 days ago, and my counselor said to me, Todd, you were given a gift by the Holy Spirit, and that was your gift of sarcasm. And he says, but I don't think he said sorry. It was your gift of sarcasm. He said, you have a gift. God, you were given a gift by the Holy Spirit. And I
think it was that you're quick-witted.
That you were given a quick wit, from the Holy Spirit. And he said, but the quick wit should not be used for sarcasm. It should be used for lifting people up and to glorify God in all things and all ways. And that stuck with me now for 3 days. And, I think that I have been quick-witted my whole life since I was a child. And I think that I approach certain things based off of things that have happened to me in my life. And I have always been one that has chosen to try to find, to try to make a joke about something, to try to find some humor in the worst of situations. And I'm now being forced to not look at it that way.
Right.
To not to be able, I'm now not able to shield the situation with humor.
Right.
And so
that would be hard for him. There's a lot of people out there. God bless you. There's a lot of people out there like that who it's hard for them to deal with stuff, or they just try to make light of the situation, so they kind of laugh about it, make a joke about it, but you can't really do that with the circumstance that they're going through, especially not continuously, you know.
That stuck with me, and so I want to be able to use whatever gifts God has given me in the appropriate manner. Now, that doesn't mean that if someone says something to me that I disagree with, that I'm going to agree with them. That's not what it means. I can still not agree with what someone is saying or doing, but I can probably do it in a different way, I think is the way that it was put.
Right.
So, you know, our family, we're all doing as well as can be expected, you know, during this and this storm that we're going through. And we're going to continue to hold our head up and move forward.
Yes.
And that's kind of where we are with things right now. And, you know, I just wanted to say again, you know, last week it was the same thing. And I mean, and we do appreciate all of the kind letters, the cards.
Yes.
You know, I mean, tens of thousands of messages. I mean, across all of our platforms. We're so grateful for that. And those messages have been very uplifting.
Yes, they have.
And, you know, all of the love and support that's being shown towards, you know, Nanny Faye. You know, we kept her illness. We tried to keep it private because that was her request. But because of the trial, it was brought out very quickly.
Yeah.
And we didn't even know that it was being brought out at that point. So, of course, the press was in the courtroom, and then it became tabloid fodder, and we had to address it on the podcast. And my mother is sad that she had to, that the world now has to know.
Golly. Could you imagine? You can't do freaking nothing, man. You can't have even a health issue, a health problem kept in your family a secret. And yeah, I know some of y'all are like, oh, well, that's what happens whenever you're a public figure or if you go on a TV show. Okay, good Lord. Like, my gosh, poor Nanny Faye. Like, she don't know. She didn't sign up for this. My gosh. It's just ridiculous.
She is battling bladder cancer. And she's been going through this for...
Since last fall.
And lots of treatments.
And lots of treatments still to be had.
And a lot of treatments still to be had. She is 77 years old.
Oh my gosh. That's so sad.
She is 77 years old. And there's only so much that your body can take. But she is a very strong woman. And she goes through these treatments. She doesn't complain. She knows what she has to do, and she does it. And that's the strength that I come from.
Dude, I'm sorry. That's so sad. I could just see Julie, like, holding him. I really pray she's okay and they freaking knock it out now so they don't have every freaking thing on their plate. And unfortunately, that's kind of how it goes. It's almost like if you're going through one huge freaking thing, that's not enough, you know? I really pray they can make sure she's okay so they can relax and breathe and know she's okay and then deal with this crap that they have to deal with freaking legally.
Been a fighter her entire life. And I am so proud and will always be proud that she is my mother. and that I was raised by a woman of substance, a woman of true, impeccable character, a woman who is kind to her own detriment. She is giving to her own detriment. She is the most selfless human being that I've ever known in my life. And so for all of you that are sending flowers to her home, that are leaving things on her porch, it is appreciated, and it puts a smile on her face. She gets to see it, because we have security, that's on her phone. So, she's staying with us, and it pops up on her phone when somebody's at her door, and she'll make sure she tells us, one of my friends has dropped something off.
Oh my gosh, I could just picture her saying that. If y'all watch it, I know y'all could just picture her saying that, sitting in her chair on the couch. One of my friends just dropped off me a present. I'm really glad that she's with them. He's very protective of her. So that's so emotional. That is just has changed so much. But I'm very glad that you just kind of feel like you have to take everybody in, like to keep them safe, and just in case you don't know what's going to happen. And I don't know. I'm just really glad she's there. Could you imagine being like the UPS person or the mail lady or postman, mail lady, whatever, having all the packages delivered? And I really hope and pray they're all good and nothing bad. I don't see why anyone would send them something bad. I guess there's disgusting people every which way, but I really hope the show still continues, because so bad I just wish we could see them now, just to kind of make sure they're okay. You just want to check up on them, and they're not doing well at all, but I don't know. I'm trying to stay positive and not think that they have to go anywhere. I don't want them to take any of the shows or podcasts away from them. If the podcast has to go on hold, whatever, the shows, let the kids go on, make it more of a reality show, not for the drama, but just to, this is real life, this is what we're going through.
And she considers all of y'all her friends, and she's never met many of you. She's met a lot of people since this show, but she considers every person that follows her on Facebook or Instagram. She considers all of them her friends, because on Facebook it says your friends.
Oh my God.
And she considers everyone that speaks to her. Our nanny Faye, can I get a picture with you? She considers that. She says, well, that's my friend. I said, well, Mama, where do you know them from? Well, they watch the show. I said, well, Mama, that doesn't make them your friend. Well, yes, it does. So it is very uplifting for her to see that. And so we thank you all from the bottom of our hearts for the brightness of each day for her, for the cards and the letters and the flowers and the prayers. We're all grateful for that. So with that being said, I guess we'll move on to some callers.
Yes.
First caller, please.
Hey, Todd and Julie. I just wanted to say I absolutely love your guys' show. You guys are so funny. I love the podcast. I don't have a question or anything. I just wanted to call in. I know you guys say that sometimes people hate that you have sponsors on your podcast. I just wanted to share a really cool story about one of your sponsors, the AMCN. They are an amazing program. My stepfather, he recently had a stroke, and when they got him to the emergency room, we live in a rural town, they wanted to take him by ambulance to the nearest trauma center, and he pulled out his wallet and his card, and he said, "No, I have my free ride, put me on the helicopter." So they put him on the AMCN helicopter. He was at the nearest trauma center in less than an hour and was able to get 3 stents put in. He's recovering very well. It's going to be a hard road, but I just thought I would call and say that the AMCN network is an awesome thing and really helped him out, and that I'm really glad they're a sponsor of you guys. Thanks so much for your podcast and the show. Love you guys. Bye.
Wow, that's awesome.
Thank you so much for your call. I absolutely love to hear this. You know, I have talked about AMCN so many times on this podcast, and how, you know, it's a membership, and, you know, your whole family can have this membership, and it's very affordable. And it's one of those things that you don't need it till you need it. And your story is just that. I'm so grateful that your dad had the AMCN membership and was able to get to the trauma center, you know, so much more quickly than he would have gotten there. So that is so good to hear, and prayers out to you, your family, your dad. I hope he fully recovers.
Thank you so much for calling in, and good luck and God bless.
That was a crazy story. That's
heat
awesome.
Melting your ice cubes. Stay frosty where it counts.
Poor
Get
thing.
brand new Tommy John underwear.
This is so hard to hear Todd so emotional.
Thanks to breathable, lightweight fabric with 4 times the
I'm
strength
so sad.
with dozens of comfort
But, you know, at least he's not trying to hide it.
of feeling cool all summer long. From lounge
Sometimes you really can't.
That's why Tommy John's doesn't have customers, they have fanatics. With over 17 million pairs sold, people love their Tommy John underwear and loungewear. We at the Chrisley
I think this is like
love our Tommy Johns. I love their loungewear.
an hour, right over an hour, so I'm gonna try to commentate enough to let me, you know, post and it be fair use, but also kind of get it rolling so it's not taking extra long so y'all can hear it. I try to commentate on the commercials, but y'all know how I am. I don't want to forget anything. If I'm thinking about something, I gotta say it. Nanny Faye, she's so sweet. Everybody's my friend. Well, that's my friend, Todd.
Hi, Todd and Chrisley. This is Regina. I'm from Arkansas. I have a little situation that I just need a little bit of advice on. My ex-husband, first of all, I'm 47. I met him when I was 23. We have a 21-year-old son. We've been divorced since 2012, I believe. But we've always just kind of tried to work it out here and there, get back together, and it didn't work out. And so we've done that for years. I just found out that he is seeing someone. And I'm not going to lie, it breaks my heart because I love this man with everything in me. He's the father of my sons. And that's not the only reason why I love him. I just love him. He's really all I know. Do you have any advice on how to move on?
Oh, man.
Because I'm just not getting it. Thanks, you guys.
Hey, Regina. You know, listen, I have always told my children, never go back to what broke you.
Oh, good
And
one.
you said that you divorced in 2012 and that y'all kept going back and forth, back and forth. Well, obviously he broke you in order for you to have divorced him. and you continued to go back to him to allow yourself to be broken again, every time you could maybe see the light and start breathing again, you know, you were hurt again. And I think that your way of healing for you was trying to fix it and put it back together.
Yeah.
And sometimes certain things can't be put back together. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they're not supposed to be. And I believe that when, you know, I am divorced, and my divorce was the greatest thing, one of the greatest things that's ever happened to me, because I should have never been married to begin with, you know, to that individual. But
right
at the end of the day, I love that you said, I love this man. He's the father of my child, but that's not the only reason I just love him. He's all I know. That's a choice that you made, that he's the only thing that you know. And, you know, I have learned in my life, because I've done some of the things, I mean, I've done a lot of the things that callers, you know, call in and talk about, which is why I feel like that I'm credible in answering, you know, so many questions. I think that when you sign up to be disappointed, to be let down, to be abused, you know, and when I say abused, I'm talking physically. I'm talking about abused emotionally and psychologically and financially and whatever. When you sign up for it, then you also take on some accountability for it. And what I would like to know, Regina, is who is your support group? Who is that woman in your life? Or that man, a mother, a father, an aunt, an uncle, a friend, that says to you, Regina, you are worth so much more. You are worth better than what you're accepting. And, you know, honey, listen, I understand when you say this is all that I know, but if this is all that you know, then the only other direction for you is up. Because what you're...
Look, bro. He is so good. Like, that is, like, so motivational. Let me tell you. I'm trying not to get emotional over here. Dang. It's so hard, but it makes so much freaking sense. I feel like that's something I could probably listen to every single day.
You divorced him, you got back with him, then you broke up, and then you got back with him again, and you seesawed back and forth, and none of that's good for your 21-year-old son to say. I mean, I would like for you to be able to look in the mirror and say, I am worthy, I'm a child of God. God did not make me to go through this, and I have learned this the hard way, Regina, because I'm a fixer. I've always believed that I could fix every situation. And I have learned that I cannot fix every situation. I have had to truly surrender to my Lord and Savior and say, God, I place it all in your hands, because me out here fighting a battle that I'm not strong enough to fight needs to be turned over to God. Mm-hmm. And this battle that you have and that you've been having all these years, you need to turn it over to God. And that needs to become his battle. He doesn't want us fighting his battles. He wants his battle back.
Right. And I actually was, you know, anytime I'm scrolling online and I see a quote or I see something that resonates with me, I just screenshot it and I keep it in my phone. And one that came up yesterday morning was, God will put you back together right in front of the people who broke you.
Yes.
And I think
I just saw that one. Look, y'all, I'm really glad I listened to this tonight.
that is so powerful. And I think that resonates with so many people, that you know, we don't always know. We don't know what the outcome's going to be.
No.
But we do know, if we are a believer, that God will put you back together right in front of the people who broke you.
And I think that's very powerful, Julie, and I'm glad that you brought that up, because, you know, we're going through some of that. And, you know, there's always going to be a hater. There's always going to be someone that wants to see you fail. And it's always the people that's cheering you on to fail that have felt that have never had any success in their own life, or that's in a bad place or a dark place to where they can't find joy in any of their life. So they figure that if everyone else around them is miserable, then they don't look so bad at being miserable. So I just think that's a very powerful statement, right, that God will put you back together in front of the people that broke you.
Yep.
And put you back together better.
Absolutely.
And so I think that your testimony, and I do believe that we all go through life and that we have a testimony. Whether we tell it or not, we have it to tell. Mm-hmm. It's our choice as to whether we tell it. And Regina, you have a testimony, but I don't know that your testimony is really ready to be told, because I don't think you're finished with you got to finish with one chapter in order to be able to testify to the next one. Okay. So my advice to you would be that this is probably not the first time that your ex-husband has been with another woman. You said he's the only man that you know, but you are not the only woman he knows. And you need to, at this point, it's no longer about him disrespecting you. It's about you allowing him to continue disrespecting you. And, I feel like that, my heart aches for you because, I have only been in love with one woman my whole life, and that's this one sitting beside me. And Julie, you and I have talked about that. I mean, I have never loved any woman in my life or been in love with any woman in my life other than Julie. And I know how I would feel. I would be devastated if I found out that, there had been a third party in our relationship.
Oh, of course. Me too.
And, that was alleged. We brought that up on the podcast a long time ago about this third party individual, which we now know who that third party individual.
Yeah, that's crazy. I wasn't gonna say anything, but that's crazy. So I wonder, is he saying? First of all, let me address the whole. Hey, put that back, baby. No, put it back. I told you I'm not going to be able to do a whole thing without. No, you're not going to put that in the bed. Does mommy need to take it? No. Then put it on the nightstand, please. Thank you. Okay, then I'll give it to Riley. Okay. Gosh. Gosh, sorry. She has a dime that supposedly is... Anyways. So I'm really curious, obviously they're not going to get into that because right now, but did he, thought... I mean, surely did he, just thought that he loved his first wife, and then, then he... never knew what real love was until he met Julie. That's so hard. I don't want to talk about it, but I'm going through something right now, and it's I'm going through a divorce right now, and I never thought I'm not gonna lie, there was times whenever I was wondering, is this what my life really is? Or is it just a rough spot? Is this how I'm gonna feel forever? Little things like that was just, I guess, in my gut. But I never, ever, ever wanted to get a divorce. And that's why I started to wonder if I even wanted to get married. Because and then you're like, well, people obviously don't, get married to think about getting a divorce later. I don't know. It's just, it's so hard because you're you love someone, so you get married, and then you're with them for so long, and you have a family, and you're like, well, if that wasn't real love, how the hell do I know what real love is? I don't know. Anyways, off that, yeah, whenever they were just talking about, like, a third party, the way that they talked about it was, like, they didn't sound, like, guilty or anything about that. Again, none of us know the truth. But it would not surprise me if that guy was obsessed with Todd and he was a scorn lover, or he just, I don't know, he could have been freaking crazy. He could have been crazy. I mean, we've seen females around here acting like that. Acting like, well, if you're not going to be with me, you're not going to be with nobody. If you're not going to, be here, then I'm going to ruin your life. And that's pretty much what that guy has done. He got full immunity to try to ruin this family's life. And that happens. Like, that could be true. He probably wanted to, he probably had something for Todd, and I don't know, just my opinions. And he was jealous of Todd. He was. I mean, that's all that was already out. That's already out there. Like, he really wanted to be like Todd, and I think he really wanted to be with Todd, and it just wasn't going to happen. So, just like, another case we know, like, one girl was like, oh, you don't want to be with me? Okay, I'm going to do a false report on you. This is could possibly be the same thing. Oh, you don't want to be with me? Okay, I'm going to do this. He's not getting charged for anything. He's getting freaking immunity from it. That's bullcrap. If it really happened, then he shouldn't get any immunity from that. That's absolutely bullcrap.
And couldn't even get his dates right. But at any rate, I don't want to breathe air into anything that is negative, because I'm trying to stay in the headspace that our counselor has told us to stay in, and to not address Satan's puppets. Right. So, my advice to you, Regina, is to learn to love yourself, because once you love yourself, it'll be harder for you to let someone disrespect you.
Okay.
And I also think you have to grieve that relationship. And I think because you kept going back and forth, y'all kept teetering back and forth.
Well, she never had closure.
You never had that closure. You never put that relationship in its proper place, even though you divorced. And that takes time. I don't think you've been with this man a long time. And I think you have to give it time, but you have to put in the work to know that, just like Todd said, that you're worthy of more. You're worthy of being everyone to someone.
And don't you want your son to be able to see you in a healthy relationship that he can learn from? Because what he's learning right now is he's seeing the way that you are constantly having an open swinging door policy with his dad. And in his own 21-year-old psyche, he's now starting to interpret that this is the way all women will be. Well, I can mess up, but eventually she'll take me back. And I can tell you that, you're not that far apart in age from me and Julie. You're further from me than you are Julie. I think she said she's 47.
47.
And so you're 49. Mm-hmm. And yours and Julie's generation is not the generation of girls that are coming up today at 21. And so I would encourage you do it for yourself, but let your son reap the benefits of seeing his mother be a strong, independent woman who is worthy of respect and who shows that she has self-respect. So I hope that helps you. And please reach back out and let me know that you listened to the podcast and you got this information, and let me know how you're affected by it. Thank you so much. Good luck and God bless.
Well, that was a good one.
We all have favorite photos from vacations, family events, birthdays, pets, and I have pictures that I cherish so much that I turn those into beautiful works of art.
She's gonna love that. I'm sure she did hear it. That's true. That's so true. I wish if I wasn't recording this, I would rewind it again.
which is breathtaking. First Art Gallery
I love them so
professional
much.
hand-painted portraits created from any photo at a truly affordable price, or combine
Who is she talking
photos of
about?
people or places that you love into one painting. They have a team of
Oh, it's a painting.
and will work with you until
Whew,
everything
man.
is perfect. Their user-friendly platform makes it easy to order a custom-made hand-painted portrait in less than 5 minutes. Very quick.
I hope this goes well, because I may start covering the podcast every week.
You that it's a very hands-on experience throughout. I absolutely loved my painting, and right now there's a limited time offer. Get $35 off your painting. That's right, $35 off and free shipping to get this special offer. Text the word confessions to 69000. That's confessions to 69000. Text the word confessions to 69000 and celebrate the moments that matter most with a beautiful handmade portrait. Terms apply. Available at firstartgallery.com/terms. Here's the number again. Text the
Oh,
word
goodness gracious.
to 69000
No, you need to get in your bed with it.
for a 35% discount code today.
There she is.
Hi, my name is Matthew Motley. I love y'all's shows. I love them. I love them. I love the podcast. I love everything y'all do. Everything. My name is Matthew Motley. I am 26 years old. I'm a year older than Chase. Anyways, I have two wonderful children, a 2-year-old and a 9-month-old. And me and my wife, we've been married for 3 years. I work with the EMS medical field with the EMTs down here in Alabama. Well, I have found out some news about my mom. She went and took a CT scan of her head, and they found a tumor right behind her right eye. And I'm scared. She's scared that it might be cancer. And my question is, I don't want to lose my mama. I'm like, Todd, don't want to lose your mama at all. Like, that's my mother. She raised me when my dad left me and her. And she was my mom and my dad for years until I graduated high school. And I was just wondering, how can I cope with this? I want to be there for her. And she told me the other day that if anything happens to her, I need to be there for my 2 sisters. And I want to. I will be there for them, but I just want to know, how can I cope and pray for her? Because she is a preacher's wife. My stepdad is a pastor, and my mom is the pastor's wife. And I don't want nothing to happen to her.
Oh my gosh, this is gonna hit way too close to home. I hope Todd's okay. He's probably trying to keep his together. Oh, God bless this boy. I pray his mama's okay and that cancer goes. There is no cancer. I hope she goes back and it's just, they don't see nothing. Ain't nothing there.
If you can, maybe give me some good answers and some good advice.
Oh my gosh. I hear Todd. This is sad. Life is just so unfair. It really is. So many people just take stuff for granted. Okay, so now I'm praying for this family as well. That poor boy, he is hurting. And Todd is he's hurting now too. Everybody's hurting. Pray for everybody on this podcast.
Please. Thank you.
Matthew, my heart goes out to you because I know, I feel the pain that you have, and I experience it every day. I thought that I would not be able to breathe again after I buried my father, but you keep breathing. But my mother is different. My mother has been my constant staple of my life from the moment that she gave birth to me. And I've never not been with my mother. My mother's been with me every day of my life, every day of our children's lives. And so I know how you feel, because I remember when my mother was diagnosed with bladder cancer. I remember exactly where I was on the interstate, and that I got off of the interstate and pulled over in a parking lot, and started crying and asked my mother where she was, because she had gone just for a checkup. She thought that she had a bladder infection. And so she had gone, and she called to tell me that it was bladder cancer. And she said, I can't find my car. And she had parked in a parking deck, and she was so nervous and scared. And I remember feeling so helpless, and I said, I will come to you. Well, don't just go back in the doctor's office. And I said, I will come to you. And the journey began. And so what I would say to you is the moment that I found out and got the call from my mother, my mind automatically went to, she's going to die. And I fell all to pieces. And what I have learned is that today has enough problems of its own without borrowing those from tomorrow. And she has had a scan. There's a tumor behind her eye. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's malignant. It could just be a tumor that they have to remove. And even if it is malignant, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a death sentence. It could mean that your journey with this process is going to be longer. I wait for the results, every
3 months.
Every 3 months with my mother. And, she takes these treatments once a week. And she's just such a warrior. And, she wanted to go and do them by herself. And we said, no, you're never going to be by yourself. And, we've never allowed that. And now she's really not able to go and do it by herself. But at any rate, my advice to you is to love your mother, and you already do. And to give your mother, because I don't know how you are with your mom, but I think that you're a lot like I am with mine. We feed off of each other. Savannah and Chase feed off of my emotions. I feed off of my mother. She feeds off of mine. And what my advice to you would be is to now, you're going to have to buck up. You're going to have to step up, and you're going to have to be the one that is positivity, because your mother is thinking about the worst of every possibility. And you need to be the one to say, but Mom, you're looking at the worst case scenario. We don't know that that's the case. And I think you have to wait on more results. And clearly, I understand what you're talking about having to be there for your sisters. Because Julie and I have had that same conversation, because, we know what we're having to deal with right now. And, I think that the situation that you're in requires fervent prayer. And, fervent prayer is going to God with a clean heart. And, being repentful of your sins and saying, God, I'm bringing this to you, and I'm crying out to you to help me. And God will not allow his people to suffer indefinitely. I believe that.
I do too.
And I believe that every storm runs out of rain, and that you're not going to always be in the valley. If you keep walking, you're going to eventually come out of the valley. And I think that, that God has to be the center of your life.
Yeah.
And if he's not the center of your life, God will move people out of your life that you're idolizing more than him. So be careful of how much you love your mother, because it can't be more than how you love God. And I have learned that over the past few years. And, through Christian counseling and understanding the scripture better, and going to the scripture and finding different parts of the Bible that would explain how I was feeling on certain topics. So my advice to you is to pray. And I know that sounds so cliche, but I'm going to tell you, Matthew, that without prayer, I don't know where I would be today.
So true.
That is being as honest as I've ever been with anyone. I don't know where I would be today if it were not for prayer. And prayer and listening to, I listen to sermons online. I go to YouTube and I'll listen to sermons, and I address topics on how I'm feeling emotionally and on things that I'm thinking about. And is my thought process correct with this? Is it biblical? And if it's biblical, why do I feel that I'm leaning the opposite way? It's hard being a Christian. I think it's the hardest thing that you'll ever deal with in your life. And I've said for years that the hardest things to deal with in life is being a Christian, being a true
walking in faith
Christian, being a faithful partner.
Well, being a faithful partner is not hard for me at all. But I do agree it is challenging to be a good Christian. It's inevitable that we are always going to have sin. We're going to mess up. But we just have to be very mindful of it. And it's so annoying because it's like, some people think just because you're a Christian, you have to be like perfect. You don't do anything wrong, or and it's just so aggravating because it's like, believe me, every single body sins, even if you're a Christian. And it's even harder for Christians because when you're going through something that is extremely hard, I don't know why, but some people think as a Christian myself, going through some really horrible times, I have, like, most of the time, like, whenever I pray to God, it's like a conversation, that I'm having. I just talk with them. And there's times when I'm just like, where are you? Like, why are you doing this? Like, why do I feel like you always say, you're close and you're nearby, and, just leave it up to you, but it feels like he just takes so long, and I would feel bad because it's like, I know he's there, I know he cares, I know everything will be okay. It's just, I don't know, it's just like whenever, like, your parents get on to you and you get mad at them, but you know that they love you and they're doing what's best for you. It's just hard. And then that's whenever it's aggravating, where people are like, well, if there was a God, then, this wouldn't have happened. That's not true. Like, you can't, believe me, I think everybody would become a Christian if that meant you had a perfect life and nothing bad ever happened to you. That's the hardest, is realizing, okay, I'm a Christian, things are going to happen, and this is where my true faith needs to come through and shine. Know that horrible things can happen to me as a Christian, but it's what I do that matters. I need to learn to have faith in God, because Lord knows whatever happens in my life, whatever God wants to happen in my life, I want to happen to my life. I could not make up anything greater than what He has planned. So I would never want to question that. And sometimes it just gets hard because you're like, why is this happening? Like, why are you doing this to me? So instead, you have to, like, teach yourself just, God, please give me, serenity and just peace and faith to just, instead of you giving me the strength to fight the storm, just give me faith that I know that you are fighting the storm for me and you're with me. It's hard. I didn't mean to, go on a little rant about that, but it's just aggravating whenever people think you are not a Christian if you're not perfect, or they don't want to believe in God or worship God because bad things happen to them. Like, no, it's hard. It's hard to be a Christian, but there's no way I would want to be anything else.
And being a parent.
Yes.
Those, I think, are the three toughest.
Yeah. Excuse me. Being a parent is extremely hard. Extremely hard. Not just the physical labor, but the mental and especially the emotional. I don't have enough time to get into that. Especially if you really love your kids.
There's things that you'll ever have to deal with in life. And if you are, and I say that in accordance to how I prioritize things, because if God is first in your life, and you have to, we're all going to die. We all have an expiration date. Matthew, you could die today, and your mother would still be here. None of us are promised tomorrow. But if you lose a loved one and you truly are where you need to be with God, and He is the center of your universe, God is going to pull you through that. God is going to allow you to wake up one day and be grateful that you're alive. He's going to allow you to see that, to feel the sun on your face again. So I will pray for you, Matthew, and I'm not saying that just, because it's the thing to say. I will, when this is over and we end this podcast, I will pray for your mother and I will pray for you. And I hope that God blesses her with a speedy recovery. And I hope that you have many, many, many more years with your mother, and that your children get to have as long of a relationship with your mother as my grown children have had with theirs. So good luck, Matthew, and God bless you. Next caller, please.
Hello. My name's Kiara. I am from Missouri. I just, sorry, it's a bit windy. I just want to say, it's not a question, but I just want to say, you guys just have a great day, Just keep being positive. Sorry, like I said, I'm on a nice walk, but, yeah, just have a great day. That's just what I wanted to say. Bye.
Hi, Kiara from Missouri. Thank you so much. Again, as Todd said at the beginning of this podcast, we are so appreciative for all of the words of support that we get, whether it's a text message, whether it's a phone call, whether it's someone commenting on social media. We do not take that lightly, that you have taken your time to
out of your nice walk
to express just your level of support for us. We appreciate it more than you guys will ever know. So thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day as well.
Kiara, thank you so much. Like Judy said, to take that time out of your day to call in just to say that you hope we have a great day. That means more than you know. So good luck to you, and God bless.
Life's too short for a day without fun. Get a thrill whenever you
Oh, man.
Slotomania, the world's #1 free slots game. You'll have endless excitement at your fingertips.
I really enjoy this podcast.
Huge jackpots
I should have listened to it like
and 1 million free coins.
during the day,
Escape
which surprisingly,
whether you're sitting in carpool or just
well,
hanging out at the house.
the baby,
with a little
my
excitement.
baby, she's
Download Slotomania for free. And
she's
get
been pretty good.
coins. I actually
She
won
had a couple of
12,000
moments,
coins on my
but she's
first
actually doing
try,
pretty good.
which was super exciting. And you truly get that
But I
rush
do
like
like
you're
listening to
sitting
the
in Vegas.
podcast, so
A unique
I
gaming
hope
experience with beautiful
I can
graphics,
do
huge
it
progressive jackpots, fun freebies, and mini games. There's something
every
new
week.
day for endless variety. The
And I
Rush
hope and
Field
pray I can start
Slotomania
following them
podcast.
and things
Get
that I
1
want to
million
follow.
free coins when you download Slotomania
I'm getting
and
like
start
very
fun. There's nothing more
forgetful
exhilarating
lately,
than huge
which I have a
jackpots,
lot of
special
stuff
prizes,
that's
and free coins
going on in my life. A lot of personal things that are going on, so there's just so much stuff going on, and I cannot wait till I can get back to feel like I can freaking breathe again. Just, I feel like I just can't remember anything anymore. I just realized I could fast forward.
Next caller, please.
Hey, Kyle and Joy. My name is Hannah. I'm from Louisiana. I have a question. Where does the term nanny come from? Because in Louisiana, we call your grandma mama, and your nanny is actually...
Yes. That's how it is here, too, which my mama is from Louisiana. I have family in Louisiana still. But yes, it's mama and papa.
your godmother. So I was wondering where y'all get the term nanny from as far as nanny Faye. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hannah. I think it's just maybe just different geographical locations or how you're brought up. I mean, my mother always wanted to be Nanny Faye. And she didn't want to be grandma. She didn't want to be granny. She wanted to be Nanny Faye.
Yeah.
And then, Julie's mother was always Nanny Pam.
Yeah.
And so...
Is
Nanny Pam.
Yep. And I mean, when I was growing up, I had my granny and then I had my nanny. So my granny was my mother's mother, who I was extremely close with. So I think I don't necessarily know that it's has a particular meaning or...
Yeah, that's true. Because, I mean, I have unfortunately, my mama, she was everything to me. She passed away. But my mom, so emotional. I remember my mom, because it was my mom's mom. And I remember she did not want to be called mama because she felt like she would not be able to live up to her mom, if that makes sense, And I was like, no. And I was like, you're like the best mom. You're her daughter. They're gonna call you mama. Like, my papa is still here, and then of course it's like grandmama, grandpapa. But up north, like my family that lives up north, it's grandma and grandpa. Well, I had 2 grandmas and 2 grandpas when grandma just passed away. Unfortunately, that was really sad. Yeah, I think most of it's just where you're living, where you're from.
It's just kind of what they went with from the very beginning. I mean, with the first grandkids.
Right. But I have friends that I grew up with, and their grandmother, they call my mom.
Momo, she said.
Oh, Momo?
Yeah.
Okay. But, I think that it's just, I don't know. I just think that it's just what people want or how they like to be addressed or whatever. But I mean, my mother always wanted to be Nanny Faye.
Right.
So I guess that's all I can tell you. So
now she's Nanny Faye to everyone.
And now she's Nanny Faye to the world. So thank you so much, Hannah, for calling in. God bless. Next caller, please.
Hi, Todd. Hi, Jolie. This is Tina from Wisconsin. Just wanted to say how much I love your podcast and show. I can watch the show over and over and never get bored of them. Just brings me laughter. I guess this question is for Jolie. I was diagnosed with an incurable blood cancer called multiple myeloma. I had a stem cell transplant almost 3 years ago in July. And in August, I had my first granddaughter. And I was thankful to God for giving me that blessing and experience. But because in my mind, I didn't know how long I had left to enjoy her, so I put everything into being a grandma and not really putting anything into recovering like I should have. I'm in remission now, and I'm still taking oral chemo every night for maintenance. I guess my question is, how do you keep the faith and positivity every day when your body is so run down and you suffer from fatigue and pain from all the medicines? Most days I'm so tired and I don't want to do anything, but I force myself to do something, even if it's just cooking dinner and dishes. I do feel better with some sort of activity during the day, but it seems I pay for it at night because of the pain. And I'm lucky to have a supportive husband that doesn't care if I do anything all day. If I don't do any household chores, anything, it doesn't seem to bother him. But then I have guilt. I feel guilty because he works all day, so I feel like when he comes home, he should have a meal, come home to a clean house. But there's days that I just don't even have any energy to do anything. So I was just wondering if you could tell me how you got through them rough days and made it through without guilt, and how do you keep the faith? I love you guys. I especially love Nanny Faye, and I look forward to all the new seasons. And God bless your family. I love all of you. Thank you.
Hi, Tina from Wisconsin. First of all, I want to say that our heart goes out to you. We will pray that you continue to be in remission and that you are recovered and healed 100%. I think we all have some guilt. I know I still have guilt. But I think what got me through was my family, was my husband, my parents, my children, and that made me want to keep going. Even now I have, pains and aches and, my bones hurt. I was on a medication for 10 years. So I had lots of side effects from that medication, but I always tried to keep the big picture that, this is going to help me. It's going to help me see my children, be adults and become parents and, me be able to see my grandchildren. So I think you have to thank God for every day that you're given. And even when you're fighting that storm, you have to be grateful that God's given you another day. And don't be so hard on yourself. You said you have a wonderfully supportive husband. That is a blessing. And you know what? If that housework doesn't get done today, it'll still be there tomorrow. It's okay. It's okay. Don't sweat the small stuff. And I think that is one thing that just my cancer and now walking this journey with Nanny Faye has taught me to not sweat the small stuff, to be grateful for the time that we're able to spend with our family, with our children, with our loved ones. And just know that you're not in this alone. and keep pushing forward. If that grandbaby, I know that you love it more than anything in this world, and let that be your motivation. But don't overdo it. Take time for you, take time for you to heal, and to recover. So you will be in our thoughts and in our prayers.
And Tina, talking about your husband, I want to address that. I can tell you right now that when Julie was diagnosed in 2012, I said to God, regardless of what the outcome is, no matter how long this road is going to be, I'm here. She's the number one focus, and God, let me take care of her. And, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. I mean, I could make myself a sandwich. I mean, we had kids. I mean, my mother would come over and cook, and, it just was not that's just not the priority. What matters to your husband is being able to wake up to you every day and be able to go to bed with you every night, and to know that you're still in his life. And so I think you need to show yourself some grace. And, you've got a healthy, beautiful grandbaby, and that is the light of your life, and it should be. But in order for you to be the very best for her that she deserves to have, you got to be the very best for you. So, I want you to start working on you, and I want you to give yourself some grace and know that you're worthy, and that, if you're tired, you're tired, and your body will tell you that, and pay attention to it. So, good luck to you. God bless you. We will pray for you today at the end of this podcast. And I hope that God continues to bless you and keep you in remission so that you can watch your grandchild graduate and be a great grandmother. So good luck to you. Next caller, please.
Hi, Todd and Julie. I'm from Alabama, and I was just wanting to ask you guys about the episode that you basically found Nanny Faye in the woods with all of the naked individuals. So I just want to know, I mean, we got to see Todd's face on the episode, but I really wanted to know what he was thinking internally when he pulled up and saw all of the naked people, because his face said a lot. I just want to know the inner thoughts there, because I can imagine that they're probably so hilarious. Anyways, we love y'all's show. We watch it all the time. All right, bye.
Thank you so much. I would not recommend anyone to go through that kind of trauma, because that's what it was. My mother had no idea what she was getting herself into, because of her friend Susie. But let's just say she doesn't. Now, if Susie wants to do something, my mother's like, no, what is it? Now, tell me, explain exactly, what it is you're talking about. And so let's just say that if you think someone looks hot when they're 20, all of that has shifted in 30 or 40 years, and not in the right direction. And I have never been in such shock. And then they had a buffet.
Yes, they did.
And they said, oh, come eat lunch with us. I said, I'm good. I'm on a diet. I mean, I couldn't imagine walking through that line and eating that food. And I mean, and people walking up with all their junk laid out. No, that's good. I'm good. That's a hard pass for me. But, my mother is now really more conscious of what she agrees to do. And, that point in her life, if my dad was alive and she had gone to something like that.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my gosh. I don't even know. I can't even explain what would have happened. But, well, she would have never gone because she never had any friends when my daddy was her best friend. So that wouldn't have happened with him when he was alive, because my dad was more worldly than my mother. My dad would have said, are you out of your mind? And would have explained it to her. So I think that I'll end the answer to your question with you just remembering the expression on my face. And when that guy and woman walked across the driveway when we were pulling in, and those two bodies.
Yeah.
That's what I'll leave you with. So just be careful of when one of your friends invites you to go for a staycay. or vacay or whatever it's called. Good luck to you. Next caller, please.
Hey guys, I'm Elise from Winslow, Indiana, and Nanny, Faye, and Julie were actually about only 30 minutes away from me whenever they came and visited Evansville, which I thought was so cool. I got starstruck just thinking about it. I love you guys so much. Me and my mom are avid watchers and listeners of everything you guys do. And I just wanted to get a little bit of advice. So I'm currently finishing up my first year of college, and I just absolutely am not a fan. And I actually went and visited a cosmetology school a couple weeks ago, and I absolutely loved it. And I am just really struggling. My mom is very supportive of everything, but I haven't told any of my other family just because they've all just kind of assumed and thought that, I was going to go to college, get my degree, and do all of that. And now the plans are kind of changing, and I just am really worried to tell them about anything because I don't want them to think of me as a quitter or, a college dropout. And I've just kind of done everything that they've wanted me to do, and I've just really followed a very strict path as far as school goes, and this is kind of the first time that I am doing something that isn't really what was planned or just thought about.
Aw. Sorry. Girl, if you're passionate about it and you think it's gonna be a career, do it. There's a lot of great things that happen unexpectedly.
They aren't going to take the news very well, so I just kind of wanted to see what you guys thought about how to handle it and just kind of how to bring that to them. Thank you. Hope you guys have a great day.
Hi, Elise. First of all, I want to start by saying that I personally do not feel that college is for everyone.
Right.
I think I actually saw something on social media not too long ago. A country music singer had posted that, we need to encourage people, whether it's a trade school.
Yes, that's exactly what I was about to say. Obviously, thank God for colleges because, doctors and everybody who, needs a degree, they need further education. The college, yes. But I think it's so sad people think that everybody has to go to college. I think there's so many people out there who I really wish they would normalize trade schools more than they do. Instead of just being making people think that they're less than. For one, some of these places make more money. You can go to school, spend thousands of dollars, years, and either come out without a degree or you come out with a degree and then you can't find a place to use it. I've heard people are overqualified. It's ridiculous. But, if you think about it, everything, mechanics to plumbers to HVAC to farming. So many things, we need, and you don't have to go to college for it. I don't know. That's just something that I really wish more people would know. Hey, not everyone has to go to college. You can make a really good living and a career out of trade school and something like that. Right, whenever I think we're going good.
Whether it's cosmetology, whether it's
nursing,
that's college. But things other than college. I believe there are so many successful people out in the world, and people that love their job, that maybe had a different path, did not have the just traditional four-year college, get a degree, go on a job. And I think it's okay. I think it's hard when you have never gone against the grain, when you've always just done what everyone has expected you to do.
Mm-hmm.
But that also can make you a miserable person.
Amen.
I mean, at the end of the day, if you have a job that you love, it'll never feel like work to you, because you'll be fulfilled. You will love going to your job to your work every day. So I do believe that college is not for everyone. I mean, I think being motivated and doing something that you love and being a hard worker, absolutely. But that has so many different looks. And I think if cosmetology school is what you really want to do, you have a passion for it, you have a love for it, I mean, you can be so successful doing that. I know so many people who are in the beauty industry that are uber successful, and they absolutely love what they do. So I would encourage you to step out and let this be your time where you say, you know what, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm passionate about, and prove everyone wrong. Go to do your cosmetology school, get a job, apprentice under someone, and and do what you love. Because I think so many people spend their life doing what everyone else thinks they should be doing, and it makes for a miserable life.
I think you're 100% correct. And I would say that as far as your parents go, I know because I've made these mistakes. You cannot want for your children what you didn't achieve yourself. You can want your children to be successful, but they need to be successful in their own right, on their own path. And because parents, myself included, I wanted my kids to do this, and I wanted them to do this, and this one should do this. And none of them have done what I thought they should do career-wise, and they're doing fine.
Right.
They're doing fine.
And they're going to make mistakes, and you're going to make mistakes.
But let them be your mistakes.
Exactly.
If you've got to make a mistake, let it be your mistake. Don't make a mistake on behalf of someone else's recommendation.
No.
So I believe that if you go and say to your mom and dad, I love you, y'all have been amazing parents, and I thank you for giving me this opportunity to go to college. I've done it for a year. It's not for me, but I believe this is what I've done, and this is what I'm passionate about. And I want to do something that I feel good about getting up doing every day. And when I go to bed at night, I don't dread waking up tomorrow. I do not believe your parents will say to you, well, get over it. We still want you to do this. Because then your parent is being selfish. And I think that you're a grown woman now. You now get to make adult decisions. And you also get the benefit of making your own decision. And you also get the consequence of making your own decision. Mm-hmm. So I would make sure that I think out my plan before I actually implement it. And then I would go and sit down with my parents, and I would be very straightforward and upfront.
I'm so glad that he said that. I mean, make sure that's what you really want, but also the whole, you're old enough to make your own choices, but you're also old enough for the consequences.
Make the decision that I believe would be the best for me for the rest of my life, and your parents are going to love you regardless. So good luck to you, and God bless.
Faces texture, 20% off.
Scandal of all time for us. No. Next caller, please.
Hey, y'all. This is Chelsea from Texas, and I have a question for Miss Julie. So I know that you said you were starting a cooking line. I need some more info about that because I am obsessed. And I also want to know, do you watch any cooking shows? Is that kind of somewhat more of your inspiration for your recipes? Because I'm obsessed with Pioneer Woman and Trisha Yearwood. So I just was wondering if you like to watch them too. Thanks, guys.
Hi, Chelsea from Texas.
Where the heck have I been? I didn't know Trisha Yearwood. I mean, it sounds familiar, but oh my gosh, why haven't I been watching her?
Cooking is one of my passions, and I'm going to continue to do it in whatever capacity that I possibly can. Yes, I love to watch cooking shows. Some of those same ones you mentioned. I love to watch them, and there's so many others that I love. So yes, I do gather inspiration from them, ideas. I also love just being in my kitchen. I love being able to just experiment and try new things. And I hope, and good Lord willing, you'll be able to see some of that in the future. So thank you so much for your support. You can always go to the USA website, and my cooking segments are on there. So I hope that helps.
I think we've got time for one more caller.
Hi, Chrisley family. This is Emily calling from Brooklyn, Connecticut. I just wanted to call in and thank y'all for spreading so much joy to so many people's lives. It truly has been a blessing for me personally. Between 2017 and 2020, I underwent 7 different brain surgeries.
Wow.
I was 25 when it started. I'm 29 now. And specifically in 2020, which was my most recent brain surgery, I found your show, and it helped me recover because it just brought me so much joy and laughter. And I loved watching y'all's relationship with the Lord grow, and just to see how the Lord used many hard things in your life to bring you closer to Him. That's something that I've personally experienced, and I love that was the direction that your family chose to go, because it's so easy to get bitter. And I love that your family got closer to the Lord. It's very inspiring.
Yes, exactly. It is so easy to just get bitter and turn away or just be stubborn.
I just pray the Lord continues to bless you, He protects you, and He brings you peace. Thank you guys so much for everything you do. You guys have beautiful hearts, beautiful smiles, and just you're a beautiful family. So God bless y'all. All right, love y'all, and thank you for everything you do. Bye-bye.
That was nice.
Thank you so much, Emily from Connecticut. I'm so glad that you called in, because I think that your testimony here today is something that Matthew, another caller that called in, can find some hope in, from all of these brain surgeries that you've had. And now his mother, there was a tumor found,
That's so crazy. You see, like, how that works. I don't believe in coincidences.
In a scan behind her eye. So, I mean, Matthew, I'm hoping that you're listening to that. I do, and I'm glad that you're doing well, and I thank you so much for watching the show, and I'm grateful that it brought you joy and it helped you in some of your darkest moments and some of the times that you were feeling like maybe giving up. But yes, the trials and tribulations of life will either make you or break you, and it'll make you stronger or you'll break. And you know what? The good thing about it is if you break, God can put you back together. And we have learned that, and we're faithful in that. And, our walk with Christ is closer today than it's ever been. And, listen, life is hard. I mean, life is hard, and it's messy, and every day is not a great day. But when you go through life, and if you're going to have to go through the storm, don't you want to go through the storm with someone that you know is faithful to you from the moment before you were even conceived? Yeah. And I don't think I would be here today. At various points in my life, there have been times that I wanted to give up, but God didn't allow me to give up. God showed me light coming through the crack, and I was able to move forward. And that's what He's done with you, I'm assuming. And, He does it with me every day, and I'm grateful to God for that. So regardless of how tough life gets, if your relationship, I cannot stress enough, the tougher the situation gets, the harder you need to turn to God, and the closer you need to come, the closer your relationship needs to get. because it is truly the only safe harbor that you have. I learned in my Christian counseling that God is the only person you can trust 100%.
Right.
That if you have a great marriage, then you can. It's normally between a 6 and a 9 is the trust.
Right.
And then my counselor said, because you can't even trust yourself 100%, because we're human, and humans make mistakes. But with God, you can trust 100% of the time. And if you are allowing a situation in your life to consume you and to be the number one focus in your life, then you truly don't trust God 100%. You have to be able to trust God 100%. And if you trust God with 100%, then you're truly living a committed life of faith. And you are believing that God is going to walk you through this valley. And if you can do that, I can tell you that once you commit that, it makes a change. And for that, I will always be grateful, because God has saved me.
Absolutely.
And I'm grateful for that.
And I just want to finish this podcast out with just something else that I found online that I keep reading to myself, and just I read it throughout the day. In my life, I have learned that there are blessings behind every struggle. There is pain with every change. There are dreams that turn into unanswered prayers. There's sunshine after each storm. There's always a season for everything, and a breakthrough in every heartbreak.
Wow.
So I hope that helps whoever might be going through something today, and that you can be reminded of that.
You're a good woman, and I love you, and I'm blessed to have you. So God bless you. You know, I keep going back. There's one question left here, and I really do want to go to it. So if we could just go back to the question about the abortion that you've not clicked on, there's something telling me that I need to answer that question.
Oh, gosh.
Hi, you guys. I love your show. I love your podcast and your family. I'm calling with kind of a serious and not that fun topic or question. Basically, a little background to me. My dad wasn't very involved in my life, and my mom passed away when I was 14, so my aunt has taken care of me ever since. And when I was 18, I got a job, and my boss, who was 58 at the time, came on to me. And he's married and has kids and a whole nother life. And I obviously feel extremely guilty about that. It went on for a while, though, just because he controlled my job, my financial security. He also gave me a lot of emotional support. But basically it all kind of came to a head when I got pregnant, and he told me to get an abortion.
Oh, hell no.
I did. And I don't have any background with God or any kind of faith, but this decision has kind of been haunting me, and I guess I just want to know if I'm an awful person. The relationship has since stopped. That kind of put the last nail in.
Yeah, I'm sure it did stop, because I'm sure it scared his ass away. That's so sad. And she felt like she probably had no choice, but damn it, girl, you did have a choice.
Deal with him. But yeah, I just wanted to know from your guys' perspective, who are so involved with God, if you hear this and think that I'm an awful person or what. So let me know. Please judge me. Feel free. And I love your guys' show anyway.
Well, hopefully, look at me. And I thought she called and asked me. Like I said, everybody sins every day, whether you're a Christian or not. That's not a small sin in my eyes, but in God's eyes, a sin is a sin. It sounds like she's like intrigued, so hopefully she like learned her lesson and she has remorse, and hopefully she will find God, and I think everything would be a lot better.
And I hope you have a beautiful day. Thank you.
Hello. First, let me tell you that we have no judgment for you. You are a child of God. I think it's horrible that you lost your mother so young in your life, and that your father did not step up and be the man that he should have been, and be the father that he should have been. But I want you to be grateful for having the aunt that stepped in and did what she needed to do for you. Forgiveness starts within yourself. And this obviously is a burden on your heart. And I would suggest, you said you don't have a relationship with God, but you do, because you've called in here. You are searching for that relationship.
Yes.
And so what I would encourage you to do is to, in the privacy of your car, in your bedroom, wherever you can go, to get down on your knees and go to God with your burden. Our God is a forgiving God. And if we go to him with a repentful heart, and we truly are repentful, we're forgiven when we get up. And you made a decision that you obviously were pressured into making. And this man is truly, I mean, these stories are all the time.
Yeah.
Of older men taking advantage of younger girls. And he knew that you came from a shattered home, that you had a broken background. And he zoned in on that. He became that authoritative figure. He became that man in your life that, you know,
tried to be the savior.
That tried to be the savior for you, that your father should have been. And he crossed the line. He could have been a wonderful mentor to you. He could have been that father figure to you. He could have shown you your worth. He could have shown you how worthy you are. He could have helped you to promote you throughout your career, to help you to be better at the job that you were at.
Not use it to
not use your circumstances as a tool to damage you further. And the shame that you feel over being the other woman, I would encourage you to let go of the shame. It was an inappropriate relationship on both parts, but more on his than yours. He had a wife, he had children, and he knew better. He was your boss, he knew better. So I want you to give yourself some grace. I want you to let, when you hear this message, I want you to look up and just say, God, I'm shouting out to you, and I'm asking for forgiveness for any sins that I have committed. I'm asking that you take this burden off of my heart. I'm laying it at your feet, and I'm not coming back to pick it up. There is nothing that you can do to change the situation now. But what you can do is get on with your life. You can learn from this. And you are a young woman, and this is a decision that you made. And as I said in earlier, you know, with the young lady that wants to go to cosmetology school, these are adult decisions. And I say it to Savannah and Chase, Lindsay, Kyle, Grayson, that when you start making adult decisions, you have adult consequences that go with them. And you will always remember this. But hopefully once you turn it over to the Lord, it won't be a constant daily thing that you deal with. And your story, you have a story to tell. You have a testimony. And your testimony may help some other young girl that's going through what you've been through, that may not be pregnant yet, but's being taken advantage of by a person of authority above her. So don't live in shame. Shame is like cancer. If you feed it, it will spread. So don't allow someone else's opinion of you to cause you to feel less than or unworthy. I have spent my whole life trying to be what someone else wanted me to be. I have spent my whole life trying to make sure that my appearance was where it was supposed to be, because my mother, that was always important to her. I've always wanted to be the person that everyone else wanted me to be, and never could figure out what it was I should be. And I didn't start figuring that out until after Julie and I got married. And what I'm telling you now is that you should feel no shame for a circumstance in your life that you've gone through, that you have sought forgiveness or guidance, regardless of what your faith is. Some women will say, I don't need to be forgiven for a decision that I had the right to make. Well, if that's how you feel, then that's your prerogative to feel that way. If you need to view it as, I no longer feel shame because I didn't have proper guidance, then that's, however you need to do it. But what I'm telling you is that your greatest comfort will be in your relationship with your Lord and Savior. And once you create that relationship with Him, it will not matter what a stranger on the street thinks about you. It will not matter what your cousin thinks about you, or what your former best friend who turned their back on you thinks about you. It will matter to you what God thinks about you. And that is probably one of the more freeing moments of my life.
Yeah.
Now, you and I have walked this journey together for now, how long? 28 years? 27 years? 28 years. And our faith has grown.
Yes.
And I can tell you that once you unchain yourself to the expectations that society places on you, and learn to lean into what God expects of us, it's a much freer way of living. It truly is. So I hope that helps you. I was finished with answering questions today, but I saw your question, and I just felt led to come back to it, and I'm grateful that I did. So good luck to you. God bless you, and please call us back and let us know that you got the message, that you listened to it, and how you have received this message. So with that being said, folks, we're over our time limit this week, but I thank each and every one of you from the bottom of my heart. Nothing but love and light from our family to yours, and we want to be a blessing, not a burden. And I hope that all of you take on that philosophy. So until next week, good luck and God bless.
Well, that was nice. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Anyways, I'm going to try to get this up tonight. So I hope y'all have a great night, a great Thursday, a great week.